Hello, everybody. So this session is on NSX Plus, but one component of NSX Plus, it's NSX Plus Policy Management. So if you follow the tech field day in order, you don't have to, but if you follow the tech field day in order, you had before that session the overall NSX Plus presentation. And Pooja and Andrew presented that to you, presented all the services you have under NSX Plus and all the overall high-level benefits out of it. And what we'll talk in this session is NSX Plus Policy Management. And this service within the NSX Plus solution is the one giving you the following benefits. So consistent multi-cloud operation. Centrally, you can manage all your different on-prem, and in the future, we'll talk about that, public cloud, but centrally from a SaaS service, from the VMware SaaS service. Also, this gives you the benefit of simplified cloud consumption and a piece of security. It's not the only piece, because we have also, and that will be presented in the follow-up session, NDR, NSX Plus Network Detection and Response, which completes the overall security solution from NSX. But yeah, it's a component, and you'll see that in a live demo following this. Yeah, I forgot to mention, this session will be mainly live demo, because I think that's the best way to learn. At least that's how I learn. So I hope you'll enjoy that, and you'll have a better understanding of everything that is explained on that screen. Just before going to the demo, just a couple of more slides that goes a little bit deeper on NSX Plus Policy Management. So it's really this. So you have this NSX Plus or VMware SaaS service. Inside, you bought and registered NSX Plus into your VMware cloud service, and you bought NSX Plus Policy Management service out of NSX Plus. And this gives you central and consistent policy. So centrally, as I said, you can configure and control and operate all your network and security services for all your environments, and also simplified operations, because now centrally, you can manage all your different dashboards, all your different licensing, the alarms, and so on and so forth. We'll talk about that in a minute. And as Pooja mentioned and briefly before, at GA, which we have now available for customers, we have on-prem that is supported, and coming next, the same services, but for the different variant of public clouds. Okay, so in high level, what it is you have today your different on-prem, because that's what we support today, your different locations on-prem, and you have your NSX, local managers, that are offering locally the network and security services for your different locations. So you still have the local managers NSX for your different locations, but on top, you have NSX Plus or NSX Plus Policy Management that will centrally configure everything, and that will be for network, and that will be for security. And as you can see on this diagram, the security is pushed to all the different locations from that central location in the SaaS, but you can create rules that are also cross-location. You can have an application in data center 1 and a database in data center 2, and centrally configure the security between those two part of the applications, even if they are physically in different locations. Okay, so as I said, it was a very quick lecture. Now let's go to the demo. No question before jumping in? Okay, so let's have two parts of the demo. The first part is showing you that an existing customer has already NSX and has been enjoying NSX for years. And now he wants to add NSX Plus into his already existing environment. It doesn't have to be greenfield. And here I will show you in this demo the benefits I talked about with NSX Plus, which is central management and operation simplification. I will not talk in this demo, even if customers will benefit of those. I will not talk about central flow visualization and security recommendation, which is the NSX Plus intelligence service, because that will be presented in 2 sessions after me. And I do not talk about what you have with NSX Plus, the advanced threat detection and protection, ATP services, because it's offered by the NSX Plus NDR, which is presented by Stein just after me. So even if I focus only on the first 2 benefits, doesn't mean you have only this. Okay, so what do we have? We have a customer, and as you cannot guess from my accent, I have a data center in San Francisco, and I have vCenter, I have my NSX. I mean, I've been using that for years, and I have a couple of applications. Don't be too excited, it's a lab, but very basic applications. But I have a couple of applications there with my network. So if you already have your NSX tattoo, you understand that diagram. I have the network with my tier 0, with my tier 1, with my segments, and I have an app 1, and I have a backup service. And very basic application, 2-tier application. Traffic comes on HTTPS to the front end, to MySQL to the back end, and I have some backup every hour for the database. Okay, so very basic, and I have my NSX LM, local manager, that has been configured to provide those services. And then I bought NSX Plus, I rolled out NSX Plus, and I registered my local manager San Francisco, NSX, to that NSX Plus. And this takes 30 minutes, so actually it's not part of the demo because it's a little bit boring. I'll just show you quickly, but it takes 30 minutes. So to speed it up, this has already been done. And what I will demonstrate in front of you in the first part of the demo is centrally from the SaaS, I can visually operate those network and security that have been configured in the past prior to NSX Plus. So I can still manage that location and see all the network and security. Okay, so let's jump into that lab. So because of the screen size, things look a little bit big and cluttered, but yeah, that's because of the screen size limitation we have here. But yeah, you can see my vCenter. So I have vCenter San Francisco, and as you can see, I have a couple of applications in that San Francisco location. You can see also vCenter New York, but forget about it for now. It's part of the demo too. So focus only on vCenter San Francisco. And vCenter San Francisco, as I told you, has been managed by my NSX local manager in San Francisco, where you can see I have all the network and security microsegmentation that has been done years ago. Okay. Now I bought NSX Plus, and I registered NSX Plus to my VMware Cloud Service, SaaS. And so now when I log in as, I'm the big boss, I'm Dimitri, and I'm the big boss. I mean, of course, you have Raghu above. Actually, yeah, you have a bunch of guys above me, but let's pretend I'm the big boss. At least that's what I told my mom. And so on VMware Cloud Service, what I have now, because I bought NSX Plus, I have this new tile. I have also vSphere Plus to centrally manage from the SaaS all the vCenter stuff. I have VMware Area Operation for logs to centrally manage in the SaaS all the logs of my different equipments, solutions. But I have now this new tile. And if I click on that new tile, because I bought NSX Plus, as I said, then I jump into NSX Plus portal from the VMware SaaS. And as I told you, it's pretty big. I already deployed my NSX Plus and registered LM San Francisco and LM New York, but forget about LM New York for now. How did I do that? It takes 30 minutes. So it's already done, but it's super easy. I just click on New Site. So my site San Francisco is not VMC, so I don't select this guy. But I add a name, I add an IP or FQDN, username, password, blah, 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 blah. A location. This is just something that's, it's an information, but that's pretty clean. It's pretty neat, because from there, now in this map, you can visually see where your locations are. So that's what I've done, that's it, and waited a bit, took a coffee, whatever. And then now my LM, San Francisco, local manager, San Francisco, is can be centrally managed by NSX Plus. And I can already benefit on the operation side, like I can manage all its licenses centrally. So you can see here I have NSX Plus Enterprise with threat prevention, IDS, IPS. I have NSX Intelligence. It gives me upgrade recommendations. Actually, I'm not using GA, the official release, just to show you this. So it's actually a beta, but who cares? Just to show you this screen, because I'm not using the latest one. It recommends me to upgrade because I can. It gives me a nice, the service gives me a nice support tab. Let's say I want to create BGP and I forgot how to create BGP for my network. It will recommend all the nice documentations. I can even create a support ticket directly from here to talk to an SRE and help me to do whatever. Okay, so that's on the operation side. Now on the management side, I can, let's close this. I can go to my instance, managing my location San Francisco. And if I go under networking, as you can see, actually, not now, but as you can see, I have multiple tabs. I won't talk about visibility and planning because it's NSX Plus Intelligence. I won't talk about threat detection and response because it's NDR. I'll focus on those two, network and security, which is NSX Plus Policy Management. So centrally, in the SaaS, I did not configure anything, but I can jump to San Francisco from the SaaS. I'm still in the SaaS, and see the tier 0 configuration. I can see if it's up or down. I can even see its BGP in San Francisco, my tier 0 BGP status. I can see I'm in the tier 1, the segment, the security for the micro segmentation. I go a little bit fast, so tell me if you have questions. But I can see all the micro segmentation that was created by the LM San Francisco here. Actually, if I jump on the LM San Francisco, I change tab. I don't know if you noticed. Now I'm on the LM itself. I see exactly the same thing under microsegmentation DFW. So I can still do it from the LM if I want to, but I can do it from the NSX Plus to not jump to my different LM, but do it centrally. So that's the benefits we talked about. I'll stop there, and then I'll start creating stuff from NSX Plus. But is it clear for the operation and the central management?
Yeah, one quick question is you mentioned being able to hit the interface directly versus using the Plus portal. Are they live updated? Is there potential for delay? Like if there's two admins working through the two different portals at the same time, are they gonna, how is conflicts dealt with, stuff like that?
So no, that's a good question. The question is, if somebody, for whatever reason, is still configuring, managing stuff from the LM itself, the local manager, and somebody else is managing from the NSX Plus. So actually, so first, is it live? Yeah, if I create a new segment, and then I'll run out of time. But if I create a new segment, test from LM, I'm on the LM itself. And I'll plug it here and make an IP address, stupid IP address, whatever. Save. So I created it on the LM itself. Now, if I go on the NSX Plus, I clicked on segment and San Francisco, and I see it here. So there is no conflict. Now, if on NSX Plus, I want to modify it. Actually, I see it here, as you can see, and there is this little icon. I don't know if you can see, because the screen is not that good, but this means on-premise, locally owned. So if I want to edit it, I don't know if you can see, but I can, technically, actually, it will open a pop-up window, and I go to the LM. So it's still centrally, but I go on the LM between you and I.
So if you don't have access,
it's owned by the LM, this object.
So if you were remote and couldn't access the LM directly, you wouldn't be able to make any changes to it.
Correct, because I go to the IP or the FQDN of the LM, because that object is owned by the LM.
So it's not the Plus portal isn't proxying you to it, you'd have to go straight to the LM.
So the NSX, you have to go to the LM for all the objects owned by the LM.
Right.
Now, that's a great transition. I didn't pay you, but that's a great transition for the demo part 2, which is now I will create stuff on the NSX Plus.
Okay.
So I love to have some slides explaining what I'll do, and hopefully that makes sense. And then I'll do it for real. So the demo 2 is, okay, I have a new data center and it's in New York. And what I'll show you is same thing, central management, but this time of a greenfield. I mean, it could be brownfield as well. I can add stuff on a brownfield from NSX Plus. But yeah, central management and cross-location security. But this thing, I won't do it. So okay, I have New York, my NSV center, my NSX. I added NSX New York to NSX Plus, registered. Okay, and I have a new application. It's a very dumb application, but who cares? And I need to deploy that new application in New York. And I'll do it, if you remember from Pooja and Andrew, the project VPC way. So I'm, again, Dimitri, the big boss, or let's pretend. So I'll create for New York a tier 0. And that tier 0 in New York is configured with the BGP. So anything that is connected afterwards on that tier 0, the subnets will be advertised to the physical world. So I created as the admin. And then I will create a project. I will create a project finance. And I will give that to the finance manager. Because I don't want to be involved in the deployment of their finance applications. I won't let them do it for themselves. So I create a project finance. And the finance manager will create a VPC. That's what's presented before. A VPC for the developer himself or herself to deploy the network and security for his own application. So the finance manager will create a VPC, and the developer himself or herself will create the network and security for his application and plug his application into what he created from NSX Plus, without knowing much on network and even without knowing much on NSX, and definitely not the tier 0, the BGP, and all that stuff. So let's see this in action, okay? So yeah, I'm on NSX Plus, and as you know, I already have San Francisco and New York to save time, and I create a project. And here, as Dimitri, the big NSX Plus admin, I will create a project, and let's call it Finance 1. Okay, whatever. Fine. Yeah, let's write it completely. Yeah, with a typo, who cares? And as Dimitri, I will say, okay, this finance team will deploy application in New York. I could say New York and San Francisco, but I just want to use my new data center. So the finance team will deploy applications only in New York. And anything that will be created in New York will be, oh, I forgot something, will be behind that tier 0. I did not create the tier 0 yet. So, yeah. I guess I should have slept before. I can sooner, yesterday night. So I go under networking and I can create my tier 0 the old way. So I can do click, click, click and create my tier 0, select the location New York, create the interface, the BGP, and in 20 minutes and 50 click, it's done. But everything, you know, NSX and like VMware can be automated. So I have created a script. So I use Python, but whatever. That's the script that will create the tier 0, oops. That was not prepared for that. Oh yeah, Python. And create, here we go, much better. And this makes the API call to NSX Plus and will create the tier 0. So now if I refresh, I should have my tier 0. Come on, here we go. With different interfaces that have been created, the BGP that has been configured already with my physical router, the route distribution for the future network plugged to that tier 0 that are already configured to be advertised. Okay, so I created that. Now, so I have the tier 0 created here. Now I need to create the project for the finance team. So I click here, manage. Of course, if you don't want to do click, everything can be created as an in API. Finance 1, again, I want to do it in the site, New York, the new site, force the finance team to deploy stuff in New York. And anything they will create will be on the tier 0 I just created in front of you and on that edge cluster New York. And I don't want the finance team to guess what public IP address is available in New York. So I know in New York, I have that subnet. So let's call it external New York. And it's the subnet 21.21.21.0/24. Here we go. So anything finance will use is from that subnet for public access. I save it. And now it's creating in the backend the project. And I just need to add the finance user to that project so he can consume it. So the finance user, here we go, will be a project admin. Add, apply, save. And here we go. The project is created, and the finance user can now create a VPC, a bubble, a shell, for the engineer. So, okay, close. So I don't want to log out and sign in as finance here. So I have another tab. Here, and I'll log in as finance in incognito mode so I can have two Chrome with different users. Here we go. So I just added the finance user in front of you. So I log at the first time, so it tells me, hey, the finance user has its role updated because now it has access to NSX Plus. And when I go from the very same cloud portal, VMware SaaS service, I go on NSX Plus. As you can see, I have only access as finance user to the finance project. So I can create under networking. I could create the tier 1 the old way and the segment the old way for the developer. But as we discussed, I'm the finance manager. I want to let the developer do it. So I won't create a tier 1 for the developer, a segment, and DFW for him. What I will do is I will create a VPC. So I create a VPC, VPC 1. And I have access only to New York because Dimitri, the big boss, gave me access only to New York. To the public subnet, Dimitri, the big boss, created for me for any application that will be created here. DNS, yeah, let's do. My application is so basic, I don't even need DNS. The edge Dimitri gave me, and that's it. I don't create network, I don't create security. I will let the developer do that. Okay, and now as the finance admin or manager, the finance manager, I have access only to the finance project, and I will add my buddy, the developer, and I will add that developer in my project Dimitri gave me as VPC admin. For the VPC I just created in front of you, apply, save. Oh man, the voice. No more karaoke the night before. Sorry for that. Here we go. So now the finance user created this bubble, and let's log out. Let's log in as engineer now. Here we go. So I logged in as the engineer who has a role of VPC. Oh, sorry, yeah, of course, because the finance user gave me that role. So my role has been updated in the VMware cloud service. I have access to NSX Plus. And yeah, of course, thanks to my finance manager. And I have access only to the project finance. I cannot see the tier 0 of Dimitri and all the big stuff above. And I have access only to VPC. So when I go to VPC and I see only VPC 1, because the finance user gave me this, And here, I don't need to understand tier 0, tier 1. I just need to create a subnet, because my application I know is a great application of only one front-end VM. And I need a public network for that great application I built. Of course, it could be a 2-tier application and more fancy, but yeah. So I just need a network, a subnet, that is, I want it public. I'll call it app2 DMZ. And it's a great application with only one VM, so I need only 16 IPs. I mean, technically, I need only one IP. And that's it. Don't need to know what IP I get, what subnet, how it is advertised to the real world. I don't care at all. And I know this application is, again, a great application. And it needs, so this is by default. By default, my application can receive DHCP, can talk to the world, but the world cannot talk to me. It's completely isolated by default. And so I add a web section for HTTPS. That section is for all the VMs. I don't have any VM currently in that project, but yeah, for all the VMs in that project, anybody to the VMs that project can do HTTPS. Here we go. And so anybody to all the VMs in my project can do HTTPS, and I apply that to all the VMs in my project. Of course, I can create subgroups. If I create a web tier, an app tier, a DB tier, I can do that. But again, it's a very basic application. And I publish. That's it. And now I go in vCenter. I'm already logged in as engineering 1. I go in New York, and I have this great application. That great application here is here. And so this network I created as a developer, this network I created is now available in vCenter because NSX Plus pushed it to LM NSX New York, which pushed it to vCenter New York. That's why I see it now, that the one I created in front of you 2 seconds ago. And I plug it, and here we go. Okay, yeah, you had a question?
Yeah, so for both users and then servers or applications, can I integrate with like Active Directory, do like LDAP lookups? Like
LDAP, correct. You can link that to have your user database available there. Yeah.
And if I'm a user that winds up in multiple groups, what's that interaction like? Is it
What do you mean groups?
Like if I'm let's say someone that might cross like finance and then like some subset of
for
finance.
Each project you create. So I can create the project finance like I did in front of you. You can create the project HR, another project HR, and you can add that user as maybe big boss, network admin, security admin, or just auditor, security auditor on that project and admin on that project. You choose, because as we've done together, you remember, I added a user and I gave a role to a project. So you can be different, you can have different hats based on the project. Okay? Or you can have the same hat, like Dimitri is the big boss of the world. It's possible also. Okay. So what I did is on this VM, I just switch off and on the interface just to get the DHCP quick. So I received an IP address, 21.21.3 of that network I created in front of you. So now if I go on HTTPS 21, yeah, exactly, that beautiful application. Here we go, beautiful application. And I can access it on HTTPS as the developer, and I cannot access it on HTTP. You see it's spinning, and it will time out because the developer himself created that rule that accept only HTTPS, and everything else is denied. Make sense? Just one thing to finish the demo, and I have 20 seconds. As you've seen, the developer created everything, but maybe Dimitri, the big boss, wants to know what the guy does and doesn't do stuff he shouldn't do. So I will go on that tab, which is, I'm logged in as Dimitri. So as Dimitri, I can jump to the finance project. And if I show VPC related objects, I can see that VPC has created behind a tier 1. I mean, the developer, I did not create a tier 1 as a developer, but behind the scene, yes, this is a tier 1, this is a segment, this is, okay, this DFW. So I can see the tier 1 he created, I can see the segment the developer created, I can see the DFW, the microsegmentation the developer created. Remember, I did that in front of you. So I see all of that. And let's say the developer wants to allow telnet for whatever reason. Then yes, the developer can allow telnet. But me, maybe as a big admin, I don't want anybody to allow telnet. So as a super admin, I can let him create this, but I can create rules over all infrastructure rules or environment rules that will apply before that. Because those categories, it's not new in NSX Plus. It has been there forever. Those categories are done first. First, I do my infrastructure things, environment, and application. Everything the developer does is under the application. So done last. If I want to block HTTP, telnet, or whatever, I can do that here. And even if the guy behind allows it, too bad. Make sense? So I still have control. I give them the flexibility into the realm of what it can do. Okay, so this ends this flawless demo. No, not sweating. And if I wrap up, so policy management, I talked only about this. Again, NSX Plus is not only that service, it's many other services that will be presented later, but it's only that service. And that service gives you consistent multi-cloud operation, okay? Simplified cloud consumption with the new stuff, the project VPC that was presented before and I just demonstrated in front of you. Simple lifecycle management, because the upgrade recommendation you've seen, the licensing centralized, the unified dashboard alarms. I didn't show you alarms, but I hope you noticed I didn't have any because it works. But yeah, we have centralized alarm as well. And you have with NSX, the third bullet, you have with NSX also app visibility and strong multi-cloud security, but that's with the other services, intelligence and DR, people will present just after me. Okay.